It is Thursday, March 9th, 2023, and this is episode 8 of The Healthy CEO. I am thrilled to be able to come in and share with you guys every single week. And this is sort of new for me, but I love the fact that I can share sort of my experiences, my love for what I do inside of my health journey and my business journey, in the hopes that it potentially could help to educate or motivate or inspire another woman like me out there. I feel like I was brought up in a generation, yes, a generation, that's crazy to think about that, where there was a certain expectation and there was not a lot of, like, today we are asking our kids or each other, like, what are your goals? What do you want for yourself? What's your vision? Having a strong why. Like, no one ever approached me about that sort of stuff. I was just talking to my daughter this morning. She is a freshman in high school and she was just talking about having to take the SATs. And I said to her, it's just practice. It's not something you have to be too concerned about. It's just so that you understand, the process of it. And I said to her, you're so lucky because your situation in school is like they customize the learning experience for them based on how they comprehend things, right? And I feel like that's where it was sort of like so different for us back then. And so I'm going to be 49 next week, and so that will tell you like the age range of, I graduated high school in 92, and it really was like one way or the other. You had one way of learning, one style of learning, and I was not a successful learner at all, and it was a struggle for me. I did not do well on my SATs, and therefore I did not have my choices pick of colleges to get into. And it just goes to show you just how different things are now, right? And so again, coming in here and being able to just use this platform to educate other women, moms like me, about the choices that they have. I feel like we are so lucky with the internet now that a lot of this stuff is really exposed to us, which is so super cool. But part of my thought process in sharing the whole healthy CEO philosophy is that we do have a choice, right? Coming from a business background, I had built a business and ran a business for 13 years before I changed careers to this online industry of health and wellness. And and then also at the same time having children, like I always thought that I had to pick one over the other, right? So today I wanted to come in and talk to you about goal setting, but then I really started to think about, as I was moving through my week, some of the things that I've been working on with my clients, and I thought it would be really helpful to just really help you guys with sort of more of like an action plan on how and what to implement in order to get to the goal, right? So it's not enough to really just say I have this goal, and figure out how to set goals. And I'm happy to come in and do that with you guys in another episode. But I thought that it really would be more helpful and more specific to help you to understand how to go about and take action when it comes to getting to the goal, and then the steps on how to be patient and things as you're working on your goals, right? Because I feel like you kind of get lost somewhere in there, right? So we start and we get really excited, and I'm going to probably use the health and fitness example throughout this because that's like an easy one for people to understand. You get excited about like starting your health and fitness journey, whether it's losing weight or gaining muscle, whatever it is, and you're all hyped up because you're like, I'm going to start this something new, and it's new and different, and you get like pumped up about it, right? But then you kind of start to go through the process, or like in week 2, week 3, this is where you start to see people fade because they're like, wow, it's not going to happen overnight, because it's just not. And that literally is like with anything. You can contribute that to business, to being a mom, fitness, your career, like all of the things. It follows that same suit no matter what example you use. Okay. So I wanted to share with you sort of like more actionable items, tangible. Like, I'm a person that, gets more excited about, like, just tell me what to do. I'll do the things. Tell me what to do and I'll do it. And I'll stay focused, heads down. I'm doing the things because I know that if I'm taking action, it's going to result in something, right? It's going to get me to the end goal. So I want to make sure to share those tangible and actionable things with you guys too. Okay, so you do need to start with a goal, right? You do need to start there. We often hear talking about SMART goals, specific, measurable, realistic, and a time frame. So you're saying, like, I want to lose 10 pounds by April 3rd, 2023. Like, that's what that means, right? You want a specific, measurable, and you want it to be in a timetable. So you do need to start with that goal. And you do need to start with a vision of why, right? Like, what's it going to mean to me when I lose 10 pounds? How am I going to feel when I get there? What kind of a person does that make me? How does that make me feel? Like, you need to walk through those beginning steps before you can kind of get to that spot. And so having that, and I'm using that a healthy lifestyle example, but you could also be using that same example. Like, I want to grow my business. I'm going to start this network marketing, this direct sales industry. This is where I began, and I want to have X number of commissions per week, or I want to grow my team and I want to add, 2 members a month, and I'm going to help them, get to that place. And so, but before those goals come into play, I have to say to myself, where do I see myself next year in this business? Where do I want to be positioned? How do I want to feel? And then act as if you're in that place already as you're going forward, right? So, whatever that attainable place is for you. Okay. So starting with the goals and the why and that sort of thought process is so super important, right? That belief has to be there before anything else. Okay. Before you can get to that end result. So, and also let me just preface by saying, you have everything inside of you already to be successful. The only thing stopping you from starting and success is you. And I'm going to tell you that from firsthand experience, that I am the only person that has held me back for so many years inside of my business. And so just having that right mindset, goal, the vision, all the thought processes, right? That mindset piece is critical to making any changes in your life, whether it's with your health, your career, with your relationships, with your finances. Okay. All right. So again, we're going to use the example of building healthy, becoming and leading a healthy lifestyle, because I think that this is like probably the best example. And I've actually also been talking to my ladies all week long about this. I've had some individual conversations, as well as this morning I went live inside the group to talk to them about, some of them are just getting started. Some of them are like trying to keep going. Right. And so this, you'll have these ebbs and flows, and this is what we're going to talk about today as well. Okay. So, we're using the example of leading a healthy lifestyle and building those healthy habits. Okay, so a big part of that is having something that you're going to be able to track with, right? Okay, but step one is we want to start with a foundation, and this is a lot, big emphasis on this inside of my community with my women. Is your goal is to lose weight. Your goal is to lead a healthy life, right? I want you to pick 1 or 2 things to focus on in your first week, right? So most of the time I will tell my people, you're going to want to get in your movement every single day. That's going to be one thing, and water. And I say that because people just really don't realize how much water they need, and they're not tracking that metric. And that is super, super, super important for so many standpoints. Okay. So you're going to pick 2 habits to start with in week 1 when you first get started. You're going to push plan your workout or get your movement in, and then you're going to make sure that you're drinking at least a gallon of water. And I say that because most people don't always hit that out of the gate, right? It's half your weight in body ounces if you're looking for specifics. Okay. So for me, I'm 140 pounds, 70 ounces of water, probably more if you're working out and you're active. Okay. All right. So those are my 2 metrics for the first week. So you go along the first week, and you want to have some kind of tracking metric. So I include a wellness workbook every single month for my new members and the existing members that they can print off. It's a PDF. It's literally like you check off your water, you check off how you're feeling, you check off your workouts. Like it's just a great, amazing wellness logbook tracking metrics to have. Okay. So you're going through your week, you're doing really great, you're checking off the metrics, you're doing the things, you're only focused on those two things. Because if we set the benchmark up here and we have all these habits going on, right? Like think about health and fitness and wellness, like there's sleep, there's recovery, there's stretching, there's nutrition, there's like, the workouts, like all the things, right? There's just too many things, and it's the noise of social media and all that stuff, right? So this is why I want you to start at this foundation, right? Two habits. Okay, so we get to the end of the week and we say to ourselves, okay, I'm going to go back and look at my metrics. How did I do? How do I feel? I can look back and say, ooh, I didn't get my water in every day, kind of fell down on the job, on that front. I got my workout in mostly every day, but I could be doing better in that. Okay, so come to the end of the week, looking at those. Okay, so next week, we're going to focus on those same things because you didn't, you did okay, right? So in week 2, the 2 things, water, workouts, okay, going along, get to the end of the week, kind of look back at reflection. I did better, right? And I'm almost wanting to say, like I said this morning inside of my group, that they say it takes 21 days to build a habit, but I think it really takes longer than that before you start to really feel like you're on autopilot. But what I want you to do is get to a point in those, like if you go into week 2 and you still need to go back and do it again for week 3, then do that, right? The idea is that you keep staying consistent with those basic habits until you start to feel successful, until it starts to become second nature, and then you add something else, right? So typically inside of our community, I will say workouts, water, and then we have a healthy dose of nutrition every day. So that's typically our Shakeology or something to that effect, right? So those are the 3 things. And you're going along, same thing. You checking in, you're logging in. And when you start to feel good and when you start to feel like it is working for you, and right, this could be different for everyone too, right? So there's no like right time frame for one thing. It's what works best for you. Okay. But you get the general idea that you're building healthy habits, right? And this literally could take like a whole year to do, but that's okay, right? Because that is the goal, is we're trying to have a consistent, healthy lifestyle that we're trying to lead. So this is the small, insignificant steps that we're going to be getting there to reach that end. Okay. So we have our journal, we have our task list, and we're also going to focus on different metrics. So how are you feeling? How is your energy levels? Are you sleeping better? How do your clothes fit? You would be floored at how many people just change those 2 things and lose weight and feel amazing inside of 2 weeks. Okay, so think about that. Like that's something that is huge, right? You might not be losing on the scale, but maybe your skin is better, right? Or those kinds of things. So use other metrics, use many different metrics. And then if we're using the example of like, say your business, for example, the thing that I do is I'll go back and reflect on, how many conversations did I have? How did my social media do? Are people engaging on my post? How many people are following me now? Like different things of that nature, because my business is online, right? And so tracking metrics, that would be a big one, right? The next thing that I want you to be thinking about is that you're not perfect, right? It's you're making progress and you're not being perfect, okay? So you want to be okay with ups and downs. You need to be okay with failure, right? It's not on or off. It's not black or white. We're not all or nothing, okay? Because if you have this on or off mindset, failure, success mindset, you're setting yourself up for failure again. And so when you are thinking about it in a different way, again, it's flipping that mindset, right? This is a different way of thinking about the whole process. And so when you flip the switch and instead you think about failure as data in order to get better, then you start to get excited about messing up, about failing, right? Because I will tell you that was huge for me in the beginning. I'd be like, oh, I didn't do that right, or oh, I ate the pizza, or whatever. Like Over time, though, it started to be like, okay, this is not working for me because of A, B, and C. I feel like crap when I eat this, and I don't get the muscle gains that I want, or whatever the example is, right? So then I'm changing that to get better. I will tell you that on my beginning of my journey, I used to work out in order to eat crap. And I thought that that was healthy. And so I would kill myself all week long, practically starve myself, and then like binge eat, drink all the things all weekend long. Eventually that caught up with me, right? And I started to feel not so great in my workouts. And I started to think, I really love the feeling of being excited, energized in the performance inside of my workout. Well, that comes from what I'm feeding myself and how I'm, it all is information, right? And so when you're tracking that stuff and you're writing that down, you can look back and say, oh my gosh, like I ate all this high sodium stuff. That's why the scale is up. Or like for me, for example, when I have alcohol and I'm tracking my progress on my Fit Track scale, I will see the numbers be way up for like, it takes almost 5 to 7 days for those numbers to go back to normal for me after having alcohol. So that is kind of a crazy, interesting thing, but that's like tracking, right? That's metrics. That's something that I'm learning about myself, right? So you're individualistic, know that you're individual, and that you want to be okay with those failures, because the failure is going to give you the information on how to get better, right? Failure is data. Please always remember that. Okay. And then the biggest thing is to stay consistent. And I know that this can be like not sexy, not always fun, but when you have a community of people that are all doing the same thing, I think that that's kind of the game changer, because you don't feel so lonely. Like you don't feel like you're in your own head, letting yourself down all by yourself, on your journey. When you can be a part of a community together, and you know that everybody else is also working on all these same goals together, you just feel so supported. You feel like they get me, they're my people, right? So staying consistent is going to become easier when you plug into a support system. Absolutely. And also you can read a really awesome book is by Darren Hardy called The Compound Effect. And it talks about how those small, insignificant daily habits add up to big things, right? And when we're talking about something like leading a healthy lifestyle, like it's not going to happen overnight. It just doesn't work that way, right? Because if that were true, then everyone would be doing it. It would be easy, right? And so it's really about staying consistent, doing those things every day, tracking, logging. I mean, you see me share on Sundays about how I'm planning my week out. And this is the time that I go back and reflect on my metrics. How did I do last week in my fitness, in my business, in my nutrition? What are the things that I need to get better on this week? Start to take notes and start to track and put those metrics down. Am I fitting in my clothes better? How is my energy levels? How is my sleep doing? Am I getting in enough water, right? And that is the data where maybe you didn't do so great, where you can take it up a percentage this week, right? We talk about that 1% of getting better, that daily dose of 1%, right? And staying consistent and leaning into your community. I will tell you that is probably the biggest blessing of this business for me, is that is being able to be encouraged to start mindset work, personal development, and being able to teach myself some of this stuff. When I was working, before we owned our business, I was working for a company where I was a sales representative, and I felt so isolated, right? Like it literally was the good old boys network back then. But I felt kind of like stuck in my own head. And I always think, if I had had some of these tools and some of these skills to help myself, I probably would have been so much more successful, right? Because we are our worst enemy when it comes to our thoughts, how we talk to ourselves, how we feel about food and nutrition, and how we feel about building a business or starting a career. Like the fears that we have inside of ourselves are just stories that we've made up. Like people don't think that. If you saw my post this week, I talked about how I was so afraid to tell people what I was doing, that like coaching thing, and it took me a long time to really come to grips with like, this was meant for me. This is my path, and that was just all this inside work. right? So always love to share that this is like such a huge blessing to me in my life, right? I had struggled being a mom and having patience. I was one of those yellers, and I struggled with my spiritual journey and all this stuff, and being encouraged to start this mindset work and having a community of people to lean into, like, just really catapulted me to want more for myself, want more for my family, and also to just be more, right? Like to step into myself and be able to share and be my own person, build this opportunity, this business, and coach and guide and mentor my, not just my team members, but my clients, teach classes, like all of those kinds of things. So I really love to be able to educate, as I mentioned in the beginning, women about what it is that they can have and they can do and the opportunity. And so I am getting ready next week on Tuesday to have my next body partnership webinar. And so I'm going to be actually taking this into a private Zoom because I feel like this is going to be a better way for us to interact and have you ask questions and for me to answer those and just be in that private setting. So this is going to take place on Tuesday, March 14th at noon, my little lunch and learn workshop. And I am going to be educating on what it is that I do as a body partner, what that means to be aligned with Body, formerly Beachbody, how we go about selling the programs, the products, how we earn income, how we share the mindset work, all of that community support that we get, and the fitness journey that is all attached to that. I can't say enough about how amazing it is to build a business and create something at home online, that the foundation is health and wellness, both body, mind, and soul. Like, we have such a huge push going into 2023 that health esteem and what that means and what that looks like, and leading a healthy lifestyle just is not about aesthetics. It's not about having a ripped six-pack and abs. It's about, it starts with those 6 inches between our ears. And had I not been a part of this movement and this organization and been encouraged to do this on a daily basis, I would not be where I am and feeling this incredible about my life and my work, if I was in any other position. So I am encouraging you to join me. If you would love more information about being a part of this Zoom, I would love to share the link with you. Tuesday, 3/14, March 14th is my birthday at noon, lunch and learn workshop. Super excited to just get into all the things. We also do have a new affiliate program that I will be talking to you about, and we'll also be sharing with you a way for you to get excited about starting a fitness program if you're not already on one, what that looks like and how it all ties in together. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope that you were able to walk away with some tangible tips on building those habits, right? And how to, in fact, have patience with yourself and what that should look like, right? And then being able to lean into a support system. So even if you are not part of our Fit Gym community, maybe you're part of our Healthy CEO Facebook group, or you are just part of my LinkedIn community, reach out if you have questions, if you're struggling, if you need some resources or tools to help you along the way. I'm always here to help. Okay. If you have anything else that you have questions about or want to join me next week and want that Zoom link, send me a message, comment below, and I will see you guys next week. I hope that this was helpful. Happy Friday.